Hey guys, welcome back to 90's Obscurity. I have Danielle Freudenthal here today. Did I say it right?
No.
I did it?
Okay. Freudenthal, whatever.
Okay, tomato.
Yeah.
So I actually have known Danielle since 2008, I think it was, right? So
Yes.
we're gonna tell that story too, because I think that's a kind of a funny story
It is.
about
It's
how
perfect.
we met. But Danielle is probably one of the most knowledgeable people that I know when it comes to 90's music. And it's funny because we both grew up in Massachusetts, but I feel like you and I listen to totally different 90's music. And so my friend Matt, he's the guitarist in Puddle of Mud, and you and him have the exact same taste in music because he'll message me every week when I post the episodes, and he's like, do you know like the song you want to play today, like Throwing Muses and Belly, and it's like all these bands that I'm like that you love too. It's so funny. You guys have the same music taste, but he's a lot older than us. So you must have had like older influences or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was just in that area. I listened to like these like really obscure, like no one even remembers these bands like Howlin' Maggie and Big Wreck. They were like these weird 90's bands that my friends and I listened to. And now I ask people and they're like, no, Rach, no one listened to them but you. So I think I'm just going to start by let's talk about when we met.
Yeah.
I think that's a
good.
So
you want to tell it or do you want me to tell it?
Yeah, I'll tell it and then you can kind of jump in. So back in 2008, so Danielle grew up in Worcester, which is a city in central Mass, right? And I was writing for Worcester Magazine. I had a music column, so I was assigned, I had to interview bands and, review shows and all of that. So my editor said, I want you to interview this girl, Danielle. She owns a booking agency and she puts on these festivals in Worcester. And I just remembered this today, actually. I forgot that you were putting on those festivals. What did you do? You took local bands and just like put them all on a bill?
I used to pull from Boston a lot because, you go out in Worcester and I mean, there's only so many metal bands you could possibly see. So it was like, I would just listen to, and this is when MySpace was still like really prevalent and you could find really cool bands. So I would just I infiltrated like this little pocket of like Boston bands and I would have them come out and play Worcester. And it just worked out so well because like a ton of people would show up and everybody would have a good time. So it just would happen once a month.
Yeah. So basically, so I interviewed her and we ended up talking on the phone for like hours. And then you were like, oh, you should like come to a show with me sometime. And I was like, yeah, because I'm always looking for people to go to shows with. And then I was like, actually, I have an extra ticket to Nine Inch Nails tonight. Do you want to go? And she was like, sure.
Yeah.
So I just went and picked up this random girl that I had never. I had a friend with me too. So that might have helped. It might have been weirder if it was just like you and I would have been fine. And then we had like the worst seats ever because I was like 25 and broke. So I think we saw them from like a TV screen and like the nosebleeds. So we became friends after that. We actually started working together and we both got laid off. And she was like, cool. Yeah. Just like come to South by Southwest. Cause she's like, I have a place to stay. Like all my friends are playing there. We had like the best week of our lives. It was
so fun. It was
I know.
a lifetime ago. Wasn't it? It's such a lifetime ago.
It is
so insanely fun.
But I still feel like I'm that age inside,
Me too.
Right. And then you're like, no, I'm not like,
I know.
Married.
No, I'm not.
Get up here.
I know. No, but you know what else I remember about that 9 Inch Nails show is that Deer Hunter opened.
Yes.
I was so pumped because I love Deer Hunter. And yes. It's 9 Inch Nails and Deer Hunter. Oh, I definitely want to go to that. I was so happy you asked me to go.
Totally. I forgot you loved them because I actually didn't know them at the time.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that. Yeah. And then we ended up going on tour with like a band that she was managing that fall. And it's crazy because like I'd been to LA, but like I'd never been to San Francisco. I'd never been to Seattle, Portland, any of that. So yeah, we just went with it and like became music friends after that. But so I have a surprise for you today on that note. I'm going to throw in a 2-minute song that reminds me of you. And
you know what I love about you too, Rachel, is that I can spend copious amounts of time stuck in a little car with you. That's just something I was like, there's people I want to throw out of the car window. And then there's people I can just like go for hours. And you're one of those people that we're driving.
Except that I drive 60 miles an hour on the highway.
Oh my God. Do you remember when we were going through Los Padres and you were like, oh my God. I'm like, Rachel, do you want to drive? Because the drop was like steep.
Yeah.
I remember it was scary, but I was like, do you want to drive? You're like, no. I'm like, okay, then relax. I got it. I'm not going to crash.
You took a video and you zoomed in on the speedometer and you were like, grandma's going 60 miles an hour. And then the funniest part is you got a speeding ticket afterwards, after I left the tour. And you were like, I just got a $275 speeding ticket. And I was like, well, grandma doesn't get speeding tickets. So sorry.
I totally forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so funny. That is so funny.
So I listened to all of the songs you sent me last night because I only knew the Smashing Pumpkins one. But I'm going to start with the Throwing Muses song because it's like the most 90s thing I've ever heard, right? Like it just has that 90s sound to it.
Yeah, it's a banger. I love it.
So tell me about them. They were the members of Belly or something?
So this is what I have to say about that. Throwing Muses was Kristen Hirsch and her stepsister, Tanya Donnelly. I love Tanya Donnelly.
Okay, who are they?
So, meaning they're
like were they in another band also?
So they started, I think, with Throwing Muses, and then which started in like 1982, like when we were babies.
Oh my God.
Like, or 81 or something like that. So that started then when they were teenagers.
Okay.
And then after that, I think Tanya Donnelly branched off and she went into the Breeders. So she was in the Breeders with like Kim Deal, Kelly Deal, you know, very, very cool band. And of course, Kim Deal, I think it was Kim Deal, was in the Pixies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like,
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
So what I do on this show purposely is when I have guests on, I don't research the bands because I like you guys to educate me, like while we're recording, and the listeners, right? Because a lot of people don't know this. So that like, if you listen to the Silverchair one, I probably sound like an idiot because I'm like, they had more than one album, but I do that intentionally so that people will tell me. And then it's funny because I never loved Silverchair. Like I thought that they just had that one first album and I was like, oh, this is kind of terrible, but they were in high school and you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But they have, I didn't realize this till I put the episode out. They have a crazy following because they had a third, a fourth, and a fifth album. And so all these people were commenting on my YouTube, on my video. And they were like, oh, if you haven't listened to like the third or fourth album, you don't even know Silverchair. And I was like, no, I didn't even know that they had those albums. And you know what I mean? So it was kind of funny. Like I learned so much just by doing this, but anyways.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And I'm glad to fill you in. So basically what happened was, so she was in the Breeders and then she formed like her own band, Belly. Oh my God. I played that band out so much in junior high. I listened to the album King, beginning to end, all the time. I love them. And I actually met Tanya Donnelly at the Middle East. Cool. Billy Ruane was a big promoter in Boston back in the early 90s. And when he passed away, there was a big show at the Middle East. And I was standing on the side stage and it's Tanya Donnelly. And I just said, I love you. And I've met some pretty, prominent musicians.
Right.
But I was like fangirling her.
Yeah.
So bad. And I remember saying like, are you guys going to ever play in Belly again? She just kind of seemed like, I don't know. But thankfully they did. I wish I could pull this picture up quickly. I probably won't be able to. But I went to Belly's like reunion show and I was literally like in the front row. Like they took a picture of the crowd and I'm there like
you're like worshiping them.
Yeah, I was like, I'm here. I'm like, I love Belly so much. Here, I found it.
All right.
Can you see this? That is me.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, you're cheesing hard. That's what my brother.
I'm brother Belly. Like I love that band so much.
Yeah.
Donnelly to me is like the most underrated rock chick of the 90s.
Okay.
Like people like worshipped Alanis Morissette. To me, Alanis Morissette sounds like a tortured animal. I just never got into her. And I'm sorry. Okay, that's rude. Alanis Morissette is talented. She's more talented than me.
She's different. She has a different sound.
I loved her, and you can't do that on television.
Yeah.
But like Tanya Donnelly's more talented than Alanis.
Yeah, she does. She has. I've actually thought that to myself. She has a very unique voice. But I saw her recently because they toured with Garbage in October. And they played at the Hollywood Bowl. And I did not realize that she has such an LGBT following. And
I can see that.
Everybody says that. And I
can see
why does everyone say that? Because she's not a lesbian. And they were like, because she's big on like feminism and feminine rights and all
like
of that.
song about hating her ex. So, you know, but in any event,
cool, yeah. Uncle Joey. We know it was you, Uncle Joey.
Yeah, no kidding. So just to me, my opinion is I feel like Tiny Donnelly deserves like way more credit. Her voice is like butter. She's just amazing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I did the same thing. I loved Letters to Cleo growing up.
Oh, they're great too. Yeah.
And same thing I just did while we were talking. I just pulled up this because I met Kay Hanley out here. Her and the Gin Blossoms played a free show a couple years ago. And I was like, dude, I'm from Boston too. Got a picture with it. I know it's hard to see, but she's so cool. And they repost my stuff all the time on my 90s Obscurity Instagram. Isn't that awesome? Because like every time I post about Letters to Cleo, they'll like it. And then they reposted a picture and I got all these followers and I was like, Letters to Cleo. Yeah. Love that. You know, because I'm like, I don't have that many. Cool. I know, like I don't even have that many followers yet. So I was like, thanks guys. Like I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
So yeah, let's start with that song. So the song is called Not Too Soon by Throwing Muses. Why did you pick that song? Is that just your favorite song by them?
It is just such an upbeat, it's a bop, it's a banger. It's just, it slaps. I don't know what the kids are saying these days.
I know.
That song is so when I sent you the video, remember I sent you the YouTube video?
Yeah, I watched it.
Literally, someone made a comment that says, this song has more hooks than a bait shop. And I'm like, yes. Because it does. It's just, and the drums, like just the big sound of the drums. And it is just the catchiest, like most upbeat, happiest song. And I love it. I just feel like for early 90s, that song is just, it's amazing. And that's how I was introduced to Tanya Donnelly. And that's how I, kind of first got into her. But oh my God, I love that song. I love the song so much.
I like it. I mean, I think you and I have some different tastes, but that one I was like, oh yeah, it actually reminds me a little bit of, did you ever hear the band Magnapop?
No.
Okay. You might have, they had a song called Open the Door, which was, that was like their big song, but they were also, did you ever see the movie Mad Love with Drew Barrymore?
Yes, of course. Who in the 90s hasn't seen Mad Love? Yeah.
Thank you. A lot of people, surprisingly. I did a whole episode.
Everyone tried to do her hair like that. Like all my friends, like had the short pixie hair, had their hair like Drew Barrymore. Yeah.
I was too chicken, so I ended up with like a Drew Barrymore from Scream haircut, and it was not cute, guys. Like I had like bang bowl cut, and I because I was too scared to cut it all off. I think. Yeah. I have like a big face. I don't think that would have worked.
It's not working.
Right. That like you know who you remind me of actually, and she was a 90s actress too, and I probably said this to you before, is Chloe Savini. Have you ever got that?
Really? Oh no. You know what they tell me? The chick from Dexter. I get that a lot, and
I've never watched it, but like I swear, ever since I've met you, I was like, she reminds me of someone, and I was like, it's Chloe Savini. I don't know why, but like you look like her a lot to me, and because I want to do an episode at some point on like just dark movies from the 90s, like because she was in that movie Kids. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Everyone Gets AIDS. Like that. Oh, great movie. It's so dark.
Yeah.
All right. So Smashing Pumpkins, Rocket. So is this off of their very first album?
No, I think Gish is like the album. I don't know if it was their first, to be honest. But Gish is like one of the earlier albums. Yeah. And then this one, I think, was 93.
Okay.
All I remember is I got my mom to buy me it on cassette tape. And it was like, I had to have it because at the time, MTV still hadn't gone straight reality, TV or whatever. It was on. The video was on MTV, and I was in 6th grade or something, and I just would watch MTV all day after school. So I liked the video. I thought it had a really cool sound, and I had my mom buy me the tape, and I love that album.
The tape,
the tape, yeah. Back when there were cassette tapes, and I had a little boombox, and I would just listen to the whole thing. And even when I listen to it, it's just got such a calming. I think it's the song Hummer. It calms me down. It's just like a nice album.
A little different from Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, where he's
Which
the rat in the cage.
So, fun fact: first concert I ever went to, Smashing Pumpkins and Garbage, 1996.
I was gonna ask you if it was the one where they played with Garbage. I didn't go to it. I don't know why I didn't go, actually, because my friends and I like always went to concerts together. Maybe I just didn't love Smashing Pumpkins at the time, but my friends all went, and to this day, I'm like, why didn't I go to that concert? Because what a great lineup. And my friend had that like that black Zero shirt with the silver letters.
Yes.
And I was like, I loved that shirt. Like I was so jealous growing up that she had that shirt. All right. So I have a surprise for Danielle. We're gonna play pop trivia right now. Do you remember the song? And it is an early 90s song too. I checked. It's from 93. Do you remember the song that was playing when we drove over the Golden Gate Bridge for the first time?
Oh God. Why'd you do this to me?
And it's from Mad Love. I'll give you a hint.
Oh God, Rachel.
I thought for sure you were gonna remember it.
No, and now I'm on the spot. I'm trying to think.
It's a girl band.
Was it Stutter?
Yes.
Elastica. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Dude, Stutter was a great song. I love that song. I used to go to my cheerleading practice listening to that when everyone else was listening to I don't even know what.
Yeah, I had forgot about that song, and it's amazing. And it's only like a 2-minute song. It's so quick. But it always makes me think of, because do you remember they played that in that movie when, like Drew Barrymore, because of course it's every teenager's like movie because she runs away from home with her boyfriend and it's like she's so rebellious and cool. But they played that during the scene where it's like they were driving around in the Jeep and then it's like a montage of scenes and then they're like fighting in the bed at a hotel.
Yeah. It's so wild and crazy. And
I was like such like a crazy rebellious teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great song.
So I wanted to throw that one in there and see if you remembered it. Cause I'm like, it's only a 2-minute songs. And I was like, and it is early 90s. Do yourself a favor. If you haven't seen Mad Love, please go watch it with Drew Barrymore and Chris O'Donnell. I've talked about it like 3 times in the show because I love it. And a lot of people actually don't know it. So sometimes New England people, I feel like know certain things that like weren't popular in other parts of the world. That's anyways. But next up, I want to talk about Dinosaur Jr. I know they weren't your top pick, but
no, no, these were like the throwaway bands. These were like, like if we had, So all right, what do you want to know about Dinosaur Jr.?
Because I honestly don't know anything about them. I didn't even think I knew them. And that's another band that my friend Matt, that like you have similar taste with. He's always like Dinosaur Jr. And I'm like, I don't even
Damascus. Yeah.
Like, I don't think I know
they're actually from Northampton, so Massachusetts. And Dinosaur Jr. is just, your 90s alternative rock band. And they were another one that was on MTV where they were driving around the golf cart. You never saw that video where they're driving around the golf cart and they hit it and like
I watched it last night. Is it the Feel the Pain song?
Yeah. And they just like whip around a city on a golf cart and they hit the ball and then they take off. And so that video used to be on MTV after school too. So that's how I got into them. I really liked, just I appreciated their sound. It was just like kind of upbeat, kind of like, punk rockish. But one thing about them is they played the loudest shows you will ever go to. I've actually never seen Dinosaur Jr., but they have stacks. And like, if you look at any picture of them on stage, like you will just see stacks of like amps and, up to the ceiling.
So bring AirPods.
Funny story. Yeah, pretty much. Funny story. I don't even know where we were. We were somewhere in like Idaho or Iowa or whatever. Me and my friend Mike, and we went to go look at like this valley. And some dude comes up and he's talking to us and he's like, "Where are you from?" And we're like, "Massachusetts." He's like, "Oh, Jay Maskus, Dinosaur Jr."
I'm like, I wouldn't even know who that guy is if someone said that.
And I was like, "Yeah, cool." And he was like, "Yeah," and he talked about the stacks at the concert.
Oh,
yeah.
Are they still together?
They play all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're great. I like Dinosaur Jr. They have a lot of really good songs.
So I listened to it last night and I was like, okay, I know this song, but I'm going to be honest, I never liked it. Like I found it at least like that, because Feel the Pain was like the big song, right?
Mm-hmm.
I found it a little boring. Like I didn't.
Oh, no.
I didn't.
No, it was so good.
At least like the faster, when it gets faster, I guess that's I was like, okay, it's getting a little better, but the just like and
the guitars. Oh no, I love it.
I personally wasn't into it, but
yeah, I get it.
A lot of people love them. Okay, before we talk about Bjork, let's talk about your throwaway songs. So this is so funny because I wanted to do an episode at one point. Do you remember OK Soda?
Yeah. Okay. So I listened to your podcast and I was like, holy shiznit.
Right.
For
Zizzles.
I totally forgot about that. Period. It's so crazy to me when you like unlock a memory.
I know. That's why I started the show, I swear.
Oh my God. I was like, holy crap, I forgot about that. I remember the same thing with the bottle caps and everything. I'm like, how did I forget that whole piece of my life where I was like into that, you know?
Did you ever call 1-800 I Feel Okay?
Yeah. Who didn't? You know what I mean?
But you know what's funny? And did you notice like you and him both also talked about 95.5, the radio show?
I'm telling you. So when I get to Primal Scream, I can tell the whole backstory, but 95.5 WBRU was the shiznet.
Yeah.
It was
we're Joe Pesci from Home Alone right now. We're like, like,
yeah. Like I'm telling you, no, that BRU was like, that's where the majority of all this alternative rock that I listened to. And maybe that's why you were into different, because that was something you heard in Rhode Island.
No, like, I had that channel though. We had it in Boston.
You did? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So, funny story about that is Wendell, he ran the station, right?
Okay.
So everything came full circle when Wendell Clow, I think I'm saying his name right. He used to book the guys on all the summer music series for BRU. So it was just weird that like he ran the station. I used to listen to it as a kid, and then now I'm working with him.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, yeah,
all came together. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I wanted to do, because I always do themes for each episode, right? Like I'll do like Delia's catalog edition, and I'll play like Letters to Cleo, you know, all like girly bands. And I want to at some point do, and I was going to call it the OK Soda edition, and play songs that were just weirdly popular in the 90s that were like strange songs, like the Crash Test Dummies and like Marcy.
Oh, I know.
Like Marcy Playground. But I was going to put those two songs, the Flaming Lips, She Don't Use Jelly, and Beck Loser, because I was just like, these are such weird songs that just like
Boy, Rachel.
I know. And then Danielle's like, I love these songs.
No, I do. So Beck, the first time I heard Beck Loser, I was and I'm actually going to see him at Fenway with Arcade Fire, and I cannot wait. But they there was this girl, Mel, and she used to wear like Dead Milkmen shirts, and she was so cool. And you know what I mean? Like she was one of those 90, you know, I was younger than her. And she's like, yeah, this is Beck. And she put it on. And just even from the beginning, just like the way it begins, and then the drums in it, and just like the beat, and you know, just the absolute nonsense that he's saying. It's so catchy. Like,
shave your face with some mace and a dog.
No, it's like,
that's the line I always remember.
Park, cut it. You know, like
it's
everything he says is like, in the time of chimpanzees, I was a monkey. You can't like that.
But I'm just so like, shave your face with some mace
in the dark.
Dog?
Like
how many drugs were you on, Beck? Like, what's
exactly? But no. Beck is honestly, he's another underrated musician, because
I actually like him. I just don't like that song, because he has a lot of other catchy ones, like that song Dreams. It was really long. It was a recent one. Like I loved Sun-Eyed Girl. Like it sounded like a video game. It was like it was so like catchy. And even like the Flaming Lips have other stuff, but I was just like, it's so interesting that those were their big hits, and they're just kind of strange songs. Like I just feel like maybe
that's what they were doing. They were like, F you, like this is what I have to do to get a hit. Like I'm gonna do something that's catchy but absurd. And everyone's gonna like it. Just to prove how
I know, like the 90s are just full of like weird, like things are like weird things just got popular, and you're like, okay, we're doing this. Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on that for a minute. And then it's so funny that you loved the Porno for Pyros song Pets, because
oh my God, how can you not like that song? It's so beautiful.
You know what I think?
That song is so beautiful.
You know what I think it is? Because I don't like, I never liked Pornos for Pyros or Jane's Addiction, but you know what I think it is? I think Perry Farrell's voice annoys me. I think that's what it is.
I get that. Like Alanis Morissette's voice annoys me.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like I get it.
And the thing is, I actually love Perry Farrell, because I used to go to a benefit concert that they would put on in New York City to like keep kids off drugs and everything. And like, he was the nicest person you've ever seen, like just so sweet. And like, you just love him. Like you just want to hang out with him. And so I love him as a person, but when he sings, it's like, you know, it's like, just like that weird voice.
That song is so beautiful. I love how it just starts with the bass, like dum, dum, dum. And then it just like the cowbell. I don't even think it's a cowbell, but just like that the constant beat, And then when that fuzzed out guitar comes in and it just like, I love it. And then at the end, how it just kind of fades out and like you can hear chimes, and it's just, I think it's a beautiful song. And its message is kind of, so it's talking about how we'd make great pets. Like aliens will come to Earth and like make us their pets because
okay.
Third, like, I don't know.
I always wondered what that meant. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, we'll make great pets. Like we'll be people's dogs because we're just like absurd, like,
so let's talk about Bjork before we end with Primal Scream.
Yes.
I actually, I never got into Bjork, and I listened to the song last night that you sent, and I was just like, I was writing down notes for like each song of like, what do I want to say?
No.
And I literally wrote no.
So with that song, it was, remember 120 Minutes on MTV? It was like in the middle of the night, and it was all like alternative rock. It was like the stuff that they didn't play. So I remember on my little 13-inch TV just being up late one night watching 120 Minutes. And I just remember that video and just the way it begins. And it's just got like this, I don't know, it's a very unique sound. Like song and sound.
It's very quirky.
Yeah. And I like how it's like there's so many parts of that song that I really enjoy.
Okay.
I just remember that creepy bear, like
I watched the video, because that was what I did last night. I pulled them up.
Yeah, and then like the hunters like chasing him, and they're like going through, he's just going through the forest, and she's just, I don't know. It's another song kind of like about humanity and just how horrible people are, I guess. And then at the end, I remember the bear just like beats the ever living out of the hunter and drags him off. Yeah. So that was a really, really, really good song. I enjoy Bjork. And I also liked, I'm not going to be able to, are you losing your memory now that we're older? Because I can't remember anything.
A little bit. I have a really good memory, but sometimes friends will bring up, it's more of my personal memories. Like I found a ticket to like a Lenny Kravitz show in an old album. And I was like, I saw Lenny Kravitz in concert. Like, that's the stuff I forget. Like my friend will be like, we saw Fleetwood Mac in 2004. And I was like, we did? And she's like, yeah, remember we went with all these people from high school? And I was like, no. Like, that's the type of stuff. There's some certain memories that I don't remember that I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I was trying to remember Bjork's album Post.
Okay.
I remember that. That's later, but like I love that album.
The only song I remember from her was It's Oh So Quiet. I think that was like a big one. And I never got into her, but musicians, like people that are really, really into music, that make music for a living, they love her. They love Katie Lang and like PJ Harvey, like a lot of music.
PJ Harvey is cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this last song that Danielle picked for the show is Primal Scream, Loaded. I listened to it last night. I had never heard it. What's interesting about the song is that I have two things to say. One, it doesn't really have words. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, you picked a 7-minute song that doesn't have words. But I liked the beat to it. It was almost kind of like Rolling Stones-ish, like kind of 70s-ish, like that vibe.
It's a very chill song. So yeah, it's a very chill song. It's got a very catchy kind of, and it just continues, like, and it's hard to, so the reason, so the story behind the song is so I had an older cousin. All my influences came from my older cousin. So her name's Heather. I don't even know how many years older than me she is, but I was in fourth grade. And she was in high school. I think she was like 16 at the time, right? And I used to go and I used to sit on her bed and I used to just like want to be in her room because she was just like so interesting. She listened to cool music. There's the first time I saw a Sonic Youth album, was like on her bed. I'm in fourth grade and it's like, kill your parents. And I'm like, what? Like, like talking about, Goo, how it says like, then we killed our parents and skipped town or whatever it says on.
Okay.
But I used to just like try to go sit in her room and I didn't want to get kicked out. So I just try to be like quiet so I could just like hang out with her.
Like, I'm just going to quietly read the Sonic Youth album.
Yeah. Like, and I would, or just listen to what she was listening. She was way into The Cure. She was way into like, she just was very cool.
Yeah.
She had the best look. She had she dyed her hair red. She used to wear crushed velvet red baby doll dresses with ripped fishnets and chucks. dye her hair pink streaks, but this is before Manic Panic. This is before Hot Topic like made this a thing.
Yeah.
Like, she was doing it like early 90s. And she was just like, she was the coolest chick. So I remember one time.
Can I show the photo?
Yeah. So that's my cousin Heather.
That's her, and I know the lighting is like terrible. I'm trying to do this.
She's she's got the
she's wearing like one of the big hats. That's cool.
Yeah.
So was she in a magazine because of her style?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, she still does. Like, so
cool.
Basically, I remember I got into BRU because of her. She was the one that listened to BRU. She used to go to clubs in Providence called Club Babyhead, which is long gone. She was just in the scene. She just had really good taste. And the funny thing was, I remember she had a bunch of her friends. She used to drive a Ford Tempo. And she was going out, and I was at her house. And my aunt's like, "Take Danielle with you." And she's like, "Mom,
take your little brother with you."
She did not want me to go, but I was like, "Please, can I go?" Like, I'm thinking, like, I really want to go.
Teach me how to be cool.
Yeah, dude. I used to ask my mom, "Can you buy me stuff like Heather?" And she'd come back with crap from Kmart, and I'd be like, "No,
like, Mom,
I know,
ghetto."
Like, this isn't cool like Heather." Like, she was really cool. So, I remember sitting in the back seat of this Tempo, between two of her friends, two people in the front, and we're driving around. I don't even remember where we went. And she's playing that song. And she used to play it all the time. I used to hear it in her bedroom. I used to hear it in the car. And I always remembered it, but I never knew the name of that song. And it used to, like, every once in a while, I would think of it because it doesn't really have lyrics, like you said.
Right. You can't like Google the beginning, words.
Where he's like, "I want to get loaded. I want to have a good time." And then it's like, "You know what? Love," and it just, you don't really catch that. All you catch is like this really steady, like chill, like song. And I remember I am in Liverpool in 2018 with my friend Katie, who's from the UK, and I'm in a pub and I'm sitting there, and mind you, I had thought of this song so many times, and I'm like, I'm just never gonna know what that song is. How do I explain it to my cousin? Like, "Oh, you know that song?" Like, what do I say? You know what I mean? Like, I'm never gonna know this song.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in this pub in Liverpool, and I just remember, like, it comes, I hear it, and I'm like, "Oh," and Katie's like, "What?" And I'm like, "It's that song." And I'm like,
"Did you Shazam it?"
Sorry?
Did you Shazam it?
I was trying. I'm like trying to grab my phone, and I'm like, "This song my cousin used to play all the time, and I never knew what it was. And oh my God." And she's like, "It's Loaded by Primal Scream."
Wait, who was the person that said it? Was it the bartender?
It was Katie, my friend.
Oh, your friend.
Knew it. She's like, "It's Loaded by Primal."
I swear, like, UK people know music.
Oh my God.
Yeah, London people know music.
Like, this. Oh, she was like, "This is a great album," and I'm like, I only knew that one song from my cousin's Ford Tempo. 25 years early. 25 years.
Did you ever see the meme? And I posted it too, that said, "I have never opened Shazam not in a rushed state of panic."
Oh my God.
Right?
Just like freaking out.
Every time you're like, "No, don't end. I
know. And then you're like holding it up to the
and then there's like no service, and you're like waving it around.
I was in a panic, and I was so thankful that she knew the song, because it blew my mind that I actually found it. But literally 25 years later, 2018, from like 1993 to 2018, that's how long it took me to figure out what that song was.
Oh, girl, I once like heard a song in an Abercrombie store, and I spent 3 full days of work, right? So these are 3 8-hour days. So I spent 24 hours of my life. I'm like, is 8 times 3 24? Yes. So I spent 3 days. I'm not kidding. I went to the Abercrombie playlist, and they
no kidding.
Hundreds. I found it online. They had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs, and I was like, I am going to find the song because I loved it. We didn't have Shazam back then, and it drove on the third day. I found this. To this day, I still have it on like a Spotify playlist, but I had it on a mixed CD and obsessed. I know.
Well, now I need to know what the song is.
Oh, it's a techno song. It's terrible. But this was the 2000s when it's like we all went through like a techno phase. Maybe you didn't, but I kind of did a little bit. And it was by a band called Mink, I think. It was called like The Glory of Life. And it's like an 11-minute song. It's crazy long, but it is I actually do still like it. It's good. But anyways.
No, I'll go to Great Ends. I'll try to like the lyrics, it used to be you have to like Google lyrics. You know what I mean? You have to like plug them in or whatever. But this song it took forever. Primal Scream is like a very like kind of underground 90s band that a lot of, you know, hip to the know people are into. I didn't know. I was in 4th grade.
I know. All right. Well, we have less than a minute. So guys, Danielle, thank you for coming on. Do you want to plug any of your social media or anything? No. She's under the radar, guys.
I definitely am.
Well, I will definitely have you back. We could definitely talk about mid 90s songs, late 90s.
Yes, please.
I know it goes by so fast.
I know.
Thank you so much for coming on. And
thank you.
See you guys next week.
Bye, Rich.